You said that in the first hour of the operation, you lost 10
guards alone.
10 guards alone, lost 19 men, and you said that the ratio was less in the 1971 war with Pakistan, which you have also fought.
Yeah, amazing. In the same battalion. I was commanding Sikh troops.
Yes.
You see, my class composition of my battalion was almost 30% were Sikhs. I was the only Muslim in the length and breadth of 10 guards, commanding troops, predominantly Sikhs.
I think you said to them, I am Muslim, you are Sikh, but this is for India.
So have faith in me that I will not do anything or order you to do anything which goes against the tenets of any religion, whether it is Sikhs, Hindus or Muslims. This rascal, firstly, I don't know from where he has collected all kinds of money. He's there in America, issuing threats and fixing bounties on us in India. He has fixed a bounty of $250,000. Now I don't even know.
On your head?
On my head today.
You're smiling and saying it.
Barkha, I've lived through, God above. I'm sure with your blessings I'll live.
Always, sir. Always. Sir, you were among the first soldiers to enter the Golden Temple during Operation Blue Star. And you had never actually been to the Golden Temple before. This was your first entry into this most beloved place of worship, not just for Sikhs, but for millions of Indians. Do you remember, even to this day, what was your first image that you encountered as you entered?
You see, the image was that since it was kept a mystery till very late, when I was actually told what I was to do, I could not imagine that as a soldier, I'll be ordered to enter a religious place which has a lot of sentiments, not only for the Sikhs, for the public at large,
yes,
belonging to all religions,
yes,
and I am no exception.
Yes,
I had a lot of reverence. I'm a God-fearing man. But since the task was allotted to me, I took it upon myself. But when the first talk was done that I had to do this, I was a little stunned. More so because I was commanding Sikh troops.
yes.
You see, my class composition of my battalion was almost 30% were Sikhs. And I used to be playing with them. I used to be training with them. I used to be attending religious functions in the unit Gurdwara with them on every Sunday morning, which was a ritual. And there was a camaraderie,
Yes,
between me and my troops.
yes,
And they had a lot of faith in me. To cast this religion aside, I would only put it this way for your information, that I was the only Muslim in the length and breadth of 10 guards, commanding troops, predominantly Sikhs, Dogras, Rajputs, Jats, all from the northern region, the northern states of Rajasthan, Himachal, UP, West UP, basically. And therefore, this feeling of going and attacking my own citizens of my own country, my own countrymen who had gone astray. But since it was a task, I took it as a soldier. And the only thing when Bulbul told me that you will...
Bulbul is General Brar, who was commanding.
He is Kulwant Singh Brar, he is a Sikh himself, clean shaven.
Yes, sir.
And he has a checkered background, doing school and this, that, the other. And then he came into the army. But he's a large-hearted man. But he's a devout Sikh. Not that he's an atheist.
Correct.
And therefore, the only feeling that I had, to sum it up, is that it was not a very delightful task which was given to me.
Yes.
To talk about.
And you all were made to take off your army boots before you entered.
You see, 4 restrictions that GOC of the division, that is Bulbul, imposed on me was that we will pay all reverence to the holy place and will not do anything which will bring our name down. And in first thing that he told me that nobody will wear boots. So we have that issue item from the army, canvas shoes, which are normally known as PT shoes. So therefore I first checked up that all my troops who were participating had that pair of canvas shoes.
Yes.
Because we were told to equip ourselves as if we are going into war.
Yeah.
Some who didn't have, I arranged hurriedly from Jalandhar, have them sent over to Amritsar. So therefore, that is one restriction. Secondly, he told us that you don't fire under any circumstances towards Harminder Sahib,
Yes.
sticking out in the Sarovar, and towards Akal Takht. And that was, you see, a tall call, because when you are in battle against armed terrorists, how will their fire come on us and which direction we will fire? To regulate that is pretty tough.
Of course.
And I had almost 4 columns, fighting columns, which had formed, and each having about 80 men each. So you see 300 soldiers or more. It was quite a task, but I accepted it. The second one was that you use minimum force. Now that implied that you can't be harsh to your own enemy.
Yeah.
And when your own casualties are being inflicted on yourself. So therefore that was the third restriction. And the fourth was that you will not fire from any weapons except your personal weapon, which means you have rifles, stain guns, you have pistols, you have hand grenades.
But they had automatic weapons.
They had all the automatic weapons.
And you were not allowed to use automatic weapons? I didn't know that.
We had rifles, 7.62 self-loading rifle. It was at that time, I'm talking about 39 years ago, Barkha.
Yeah.
It's not today's army.
Yes.
It is like in a village, for safety, villager carrying a lathi. For us as soldiers, that 7.62 rifle was like a lathi.
Yeah.
Pitched against all kinds of weapons, including anti-tank weapons, for all you know. You know, RPG, which is a propelling, used against tanks or used against pillboxes. They were equipped with that. Pakistan had armed them to the teeth. And there is no denying the fact that they were preparing over many months to defend themselves, and they have got out of hand and out of mind.
Yeah.
So that is what...
So it was an unequal battle because your Bhindranwale and gang had automatic weapons, but you were not allowed to use automatic weapons.
Automatic in the sense, no supporting weapons.
No supporting weapons, yes.
Or my own bigger weapons like medium machine guns, and we have everything, I mean, like bigger weapons.
पर आपको इजाजत नहीं थी.
This was a restriction imposed by the GOC.
And you followed it.
And I followed it.
You saw one of your colleagues, Colonel Raina.
Yes, later Colonel, he was then a youngster, 2 years of service.
He was a captain then, I suppose.
Acting captain, actually he was a subaltern.
Acha.
He just put in 2 years of service, young blooming Sikh.
Hanji.
And comes from Simla.
You sent him earlier in plain clothes to make an assessment.
That was on the 3rd.
Yes.
You see, the whole limitation of this Operation Blue Star was when a unit is ordered to go into battle. When we go into battlefield, we have sufficient amount of intelligence about the enemy. Here in this case, there was none.
Right.
So therefore, the first requirement was, what is the layout of their weapons? How are their emplacements placed? Which are their fields of fire? Where all can we expect that we'll come into their line of fire? So all this was not known. Although CRPF and police forces were there for months together, but they were outside. They didn't know what was happening inside. So the emplacements and the fortress that holy place was turned into with concrete and that holy, stone of which, marble, which Golden Temple is made of, wherever they required to put, loopholes, they cut it off without caring and made loopholes for their weapons to fire across. So that since I had no intelligence, I come to your question that how do we do that?
Yeah.
I got in touch with the CRPF and troops which were outside. Whatever they could visually see from outside buildings, high buildings surrounding the temple, they told me that, which was of no use to me. Then I said that I have never been inside. Although I called my 4 officers of my battalion, we had a sprinkling of Sikh officers also in my battalion. I called them, I said, you must have gone, tumne matha teka hoga. Please tell me the general layout of the place.
Yeah. So you went in without even knowing the layout of the place.
So there was no intelligence. Correct. And therefore we required someone to go and find out how are they deployed, where are their bunkers and emplacements, and how do we, and what kind of weapons are there. So this officer,
Jaspal Raina.
Jasbir Raina.
Jasbir Raina, I beg your pardon.
Jasbir Singh Raina, he volunteered. When I asked him that, could you take on this task? To tell you the truth, I was quite hesitant to ask him, but I did. And he took it as his task, and he, without hesitation, told me, I said, you go in civil clothes, dress up like a pilgrim, enter and do the Matha Teko at Harminder Sahib, and while going in and coming out, you can have a look and come and brief me as to what you saw. So that is how that officer was prepared. Then the GOC himself came to address the troops on about the, I think, 3rd or 4th of June to talk to my troops. I asked Bulbul that they are all ready mentally and physically, and we are equipped and we are ready for war, whatever be the circumstances. So he said, I've assigned you this task of Golden Temple. You were being sent by your brigade commander to Taran Taran, which is an important Gurdwara. But I switched the battalions and I told your brigade commander, your immediate boss, that no, you put 10 guards under Israr Khan in Golden Temple and put 10 Dogras under a Sikh officer to Taran Taran.
Yeah.
So therefore I got prepared. I said that, sir, would you like me to be present when you speak to the troops, or you would like it one-to-one? He said, what are you talking? You will be there. The troops have faith in you, and don't I know how you command the battalion? I said, very okay, sir. And I sat there, and then he addressed the troops. And he told them that I come from so-and-so village in Moga in Punjab, and I'm a devout Sikh and this, that, the other. And this is the task given to me, which I am entrusting to your battalion.
Yes.
So the troops said, he said, are you ready? So each one of them shouted out, yes, haan. Then he said that anybody having any reservation, because they were Sikh troops, of any kind or any hesitation in your mind, you kindly stand up and tell me, nothing will be done against you. You will be quietly left in Govindgarh Fort, which was our concentration area in Amritsar, and nothing will happen to you. So he said, stand up. He gave 2 minutes time, looked around, 400 people, troops sitting down. None of them got up. Then he asked Jasbir that your CO has recommended that you will go and do the recce. So, are you prepared? He said, I am volunteered. That officer told the JOC that I have volunteered. So he said, good. So that was what it is.
Amazing. But Jasbir ended up taking bullets in his legs and being injured during battle.
Yes. You see, when we were clearing room by room in the closed prakrima, you know, that closed veranda, which is known as prakrima in their lingo. So he had cleared 7 rooms which were well defended, and there were basements, there were windows below the knee level. They had made those emplacements. They had put their weapons 1 foot above the ground so that anybody, troops approaching them, would fall down because there will be bullet injuries below the knee. He cleared 7 rooms. There were about 12 rooms in that closed prakrima. From the northern side, I was to attack from the Darshan Deudi on the northern region of the Golden Temple. And the prakrima turning to the right was his objective, to capture and take these terrorists, dead or alive. So at the 7th room, he got a LMG burst from the light machine gun burst from inside the room. And he fell in. He was bleeding profusely. I was right behind his company. So I walked up. You see, Barkha, it was pitch dark. And to approach, so I walked up to him and I saw nothing except blood. Because it was all over in the prakrima. So I told him I called for a stretcher, which we carry as a battle procedure. He was put on the stretcher. And in the meantime, there's a fierce battle going on. Bullets are flying all over and we are doing this.
Amazing.
So I quickly put him, and he was getting up from his stretcher, putting his body up time and again and saying, "Nahi sir, मैं नहीं जाऊंगा, मैं task पूरा करके जाऊंगा." I said, "You have done enough. You have already achieved the task. Don't worry. Just lie down."
And he was a Sikh officer.
I mean, 30% of them were
Yes,
Sikhs.
yes.
There were others also. So therefore, then I said quickly, the stretcher bearers we have who are trained to be so in any infantry battalion, they lifted up the stretcher and he was taken out. But I thought that this officer I must save. He is one officer we cannot lose.
Yeah.
And therefore, in that crossfire and battle raging, I walked out of the Prakima with the stretcher, going through. My own bodyguards were protecting me because they were guiding me that the bullets are coming here and there, so go this way or that way. We came out of the Darshan Devdi and the ambulance were parked about 150 meters away in a chalk at the end of the by-lanes which are in front of the Golden Temple, because there are marketplaces there and there are lanes going out. So there was no space to park, and we didn't want ambulances to be casualties right outside. So they were kept away in a concealed chalk. I went there and I told the doctor that he's an officer, not that other ranks are not dear to me, but he must be evacuated without delay because he's bleeding profusely. He said, "Sir, there are 6 stretchers in the ambulance. Unless we get 6 casualties, it will be waste of effort." Because you see, this 1, 2, 3, 3 tiers of 6 stretchers in an ambulance. Although casualties were coming very fast. But I said, nothing doing, there is another ambulance, you fill that up.
Yeah.
And there were 3 others in that, and he was the 4th one. I said, doesn't matter if 2 stretchers go empty, but you must take it, push this ambulance out. The doctor obeyed my orders and he let the ambulance go. And then I was told later that he was taken to military hospital Amritsar, but that was not very well equipped and they thought that his life is in danger. The same night he was transferred to military hospital Jalandhar, which was a bigger hospital.
Right.
And if today he's living, although he's limping, still, I think that worked.
That evacuation and your orders. But he lost the use of his legs, right?
One leg. He is totally remade, artificial limb,
prosthetic,
and what have you. But he's very much kicking and alive, and
bless him.
He became a colonel after that.
You said that in the first hour of the operation, you lost 10
guards alone.
10 guards alone, lost 19 men, and you said that the ratio was less in the 1971 war with Pakistan, which you have also fought.
Yeah, amazing. In the same battalion, and I was there in the battalion even in the 71 war in the Shakargarh sector.
Yeah.
Across Ravi, across Gurdaspur, into Pakistan. That Shakargarh is a tehsil of Sialkot district in Pakistan. I believe now it's a very flourishing, tehsil.
Yes.
We were to attack that. But before that, between the international border and Shakargarh, there were about good 20-25 kilometers, which we had to capture. So therefore, this this.
You said that in the first hour, 19 men you lost in 10 guards, which was a higher ratio than in the Pakistan war.
14 days of war between the international border and the vicinity of Chakkagarh, which we had reached, we lost 4 men.
So you lost more men in Blue Star?
In 1 hour against 4 over 14 days, and that too, out of those 4, 3 were mine casualties. You see, they entered the minefield and got...
So this was a much more difficult operation than the war with Pakistan.
Firstly, this kind of an operation was the first example in the whole world. No army in the world had fought such a battle.
Yeah.
Except, if I can recall, there was a small skirmish in the Grand Mosque in Mecca.
Yeah.
In 70s. I don't know whether you know.
No,
that.
I think I'm learning from you. But tell me, sir.
So that was one operation done inside the Grand Mosque in Mecca. And the other operation that I have read as history in the 40s was somewhere in Italy, in that casino monastery or something, where they had to attack that monastery to get rid of terrorists. But they were very small examples. But operation of this magnitude, what we had, where there were thousands of armed terrorists with all kinds of weapons and support of Pakistan, and then all fortifications made as if it was a battlefield and not a holy temple.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You have said often that if Blue Star had not happened, the turn of events might have been very different. Do you, looking back today, what do you feel about the operation?
You see, I'm a soldier. You ask me a military question, I'll give you a military answer.
My military question is, with this operation, were you able to contain Khalistan or the Khalistani demand? Was it an effective operation? What do you think of it?
I've got it. You see, the option was whether one portion of our flourishing Punjab secedes and becomes a hostile country, or we protect the integrity and the sovereignty of the nation. Now, between these choices, what will you choose? Or any Indian citizen with his mind in the right place, if this had not happened, a stage had reached that Pakistan would have been the first one to recognize it. It was a matter of time. And everything was tried out before the army was called in. After all, we had all the paramilitary forces available they were all used.
Yeah.
What transpired at the government level, I'm not privy to, but common sense says that a stage had reached when the government thought there was no option but to do this, lest we lose a territory.
Yeah. How did you convince your men to keep their religious identity aside as they went in to the most holy place of worship for them for the sake of the country? I think you said to them, I am Muslim, you are Sikh, but this is for India.
When I address the troops, you see, in the army, when you have about 25% of one community, whether they are Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, or Christians, you have a religious place, which is part of the unit. It is financed, it is administered, it is commanded by people in uniform. You must have seen in the newspapers, religious teacher required for the army.
Of course.
They all wear uniform in war.
Yes.
But in peacetime, they are in their attire. So because of the class composition of my battalion, I had a Gurdwara, I had a Mandir. Those were the two dominant religions. And as I told you before, on Sunday morning, first Gurdwara, then Mandir, and all the rituals were done. There was a Subedar Granthi, there was a Subedar Panditji, and these drill practices were carried as a tradition every Sunday. So therefore, I had no difficulty in telling my troops that it is good that you are a devout Sikh or a devout Hindu, and we all pray together every Sunday in Gurdwara as well as Mandir. It gives us a strength. It gives us that mental strength to fight the enemy. Now the time has come when we have to think in the manner, and I am the solitary Muslim commanding you. So have faith in me that I will not do anything or order you to do anything which goes against the tenets of any religion, whether it is Sikhs, Hindus or Muslims or any other.
Yes.
And I said, second point is that you have Pakistan as an enemy. We have fought 65 war. Your battalion, your troops, they may have been different than what you have today in 84. But this battalion has history.
Yeah.
We have fought 71 war against Pakistan. So against the same enemy, we are all the time on the alert and fighting battles. And it is a perpetual problem for us. Would you like another problem to creep up if you have Khalistan, which will be again on the lines of Pakistan, because it is based on religion that the country will be born. Otherwise, you, me and everybody here is quite happy. Aren't you happy? So they all felt that yes, and they were so convinced. With no hesitation, they shouted out, the Sikhs shouted out, Chad diya kala, and the others said, Jai Mata Di, and all kinds of slogans. I said, there's no need to do that. We have one slogan for the battalion, Garud ka hoon, bol pyare. That is, Brigade of the Guards, the regiment I belong to.
Yes.
That is the war cry. Garud ka hoon, bol pyare. I said, now we'll all say it aloud. And they said it 3 times with me.
Extraordinary. Once the operation was over, there was a mark put on several of the officers. General Vaidya lost his life.
Lost his life.
He was killed. You have lived like some of the others in the shadow of threat all these years.
Even today.
Even today. I want to ask you about today. As India and Canada clash over this Khalistani Hardeep Singh Nijjar, his lawyer Gurpatwant Singh Pannun, he has made many threats against the Indian leadership, but he's also made an open threat against you, sir.
This rascal, firstly, I don't know from where he has collected all kinds of money. He's there in America, issuing threats and fixing bounties on us in India and preparing disgruntled. Let me tell you, I have also got pulse of the Sikh troops, at least in Punjab even today, because I keep a very close contact with my battalion. Let me assure you that the majority, if I can say so, 95% of the Sikhs in Punjab are not for this.
Absolutely.
It's only a fringe elements
Absolutely.
and led by this
Character.
fellow Pannun from outside, and he has got some bloody disciples within India, and of course Pakistan as usual is playing the villain and helping them out. All this put together, he has fixed a bounty of $250,000. Now I don't even
On
know.
your head.
On my head today. I don't even know how to calculate it. $250,000. I think if at today's rate, it will come to about 3 crores.
I am just smiling because you're saying it so calmly. When you heard this man put this bounty
He
on
has
your
sent
head.
me videos which I have forwarded to my army and all the intelligence
sir.
agencies.
Yes, sir.
This is what they are doing to me. Not only me, Jasbir Raina and Bulbul Warar and self. We are the 3 on the hit list. Even today.
You're smiling and saying it.
Barkha I've lived through, God above. I'm sure with your blessings I'll live.
Always, sir. Always. but really, I want to understand when a man like this announces this kind of bounty, and you know he's dangerous, you know the people he's with are dangerous, how does that make you feel today?
Yes, I think you see this Nijjar fellow.
Yes, sir.
He is one of those gurgas of this whole setup, and there are many. There was some other chap who recently, you see, I was quite alarmed, and
Amritpal Singh.
Amritpal Singh. Can you imagine that he takes out a procession? It was all in the newspapers.
We reported
I'm
it
cooking
also.
up no story. I mean, everybody knows it. He took out a procession of his disciples. Basically, I'll call them terrorists and anti-nationals.
Yes.
I have no other word for it.
Absolutely.
And they carried that Granth Sahib at the head of the column
Into a police station.
into a police to protect them,
Yeah.
so that nobody fires at them, and
Shameful.
because of reverence to Granth
Yeah.
Sahib, for some reason they decided it was not an army operation. The police decided not to do anything, and he
Yes.
was not arrested then. He was
Yes.
arrested much later when he had created more trouble. That paid off, and he's been bundled out. I don't know where. But such things do happen, and one lesson learned from the military point of view is, I firmly believe that any armed rebellion against a state is pure terror, and it must be nipped in the bud. We cannot give them time to organize themselves, to come into, some shape and do all kinds of nasty things and bring bad name not only to themselves but to the whole country.
Absolutely. But what has it been like to live in the shadow of these terror threats? You have security.
See,
but you're a soldier.
I'm careful, but I'm also sick and tired. All the time I'm being protected, and my restrictions that I've imposed on myself come in the way of my normal life.
Yes, sir.
But I think I've got accustomed to it since many years, and therefore I took it in a stride.
What do you miss that you can't do today because there's always security, and what do you miss?
You see, my wife goes for shopping all alone. I don't go to marketplaces.
Yes.
Because of the crowds.
Yes.
I don't go into places which I don't know. I don't meet people. I don't receive calls, missed calls I never attend to.
Yeah.
Because somebody will give me a threat
Yes.
on my mobile.
Yes.
These are all not normal things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Extraordinary. I hope you're.
I have two daughters.
Yes. How do they feel about this?
You see, when this Operation Blue Star took place, Barkha, my wife is a doctor. She was in Central Health Services. She was posted in Delhi in a hospital in West Delhi, in just beyond Moti Nagar, which is, by the way, population-wise, is the place where lots of those riots took place, you see. One fine evening, she was woken up at 10 o'clock. I had two daughters, young girls. One was about 7 or 8. The other one was 3 at that time. So therefore, the matron, she was living in staff quarters within the hospital complex. The matron of the hospital came and, started knocking at the door to wake up my wife. And she had a lot of regard for my wife. She was his doctor and very soft-spoken doctor. Said, "Doctor Sahab, kholiye TV." That time the only black and white
was Doordarshan.
And Doordarshan. Abhi kholiye. Your husband is there. He's limping. He said, "Where?" "He's in Jalandhar." Because my battalion was stationed in Jalandhar. I was told to move from Jalandhar to Amritsar to do this operation.
Yes. Yes.
When there were already troops, one whole division sitting in Amritsar, 15 Infantry Division. But for whatever reason, 9 Infantry Division was given this task of Blue Star. And Bulbul was commanding, he was in Meerut, 1 brigade, and my battalion were in Jalandhar. The other 2 brigades, one was in Delhi. There's always a brigade in Delhi, which is part of 9 Div. So these were the 3 brigades. And I was in Jalandhar. So my wife knew that
You are in Jalandhar.
I am in Jalandhar because I had not shared it with her. There was no mobile phones at that time that you could just, click and be tempted to talk.
Yeah.
And it was a secret thing,
Operation,
which was only shared with me only on the 29th of May.
Yeah.
The operation took place on 5th of June. And I had no time to even talk to my wife and say what is I'm up to and where I am going and all. She had no idea. So she said, "No, but he is there. You are mistaken." And matron said, "You just open it." And she entered the house at 10 o'clock and opened, and there I was.
My God.
And I had slight problem in got a little brush of some bullet. I was slightly limping. They said, "Look at him." I was in that battle regalia. And my wife and the 2 daughters, small children of 5 to 6 years old, you can imagine, and girls.
Yeah.
They all sat down and and they were in such suspense because I could not get back to them even days after that.
How long after that did you manage to meet them?
You see, I was Barkha, after we had done our task in Golden Temple, I was told by my senior officers that you will stay put, your battalion will stay put in Golden Temple. So I said, I have lost 19 men, 53 badly wounded. I have to take care of where they are. I'm inside the temple. I'm battle tired. Please send some fresh battalion who can be here to do administrative duties and let me go. But they said, no, till Mrs. Gandhi visits, 10 guards will remain inside. I don't know for what reason, that only my seniors would tell you. 8th June, the President of India, Gyani Zail Singh, visited. I was there inside. just doing administrative duties.
Yes.
Then 23rd of June, the Prime Minister of India, Mrs. Gandhi, visited. I was still there inside. The whole hierarchy of the army converged. The chief, the Director General of Military Operations, the army commander, General Vaidya, General Sundarji, all the rest, they were all in attendance. I was a small fry. I was just CEO of one of the many battalions who took part in the operation. So I just kept myself aloof in one corner in that group. So therefore, I only came out of the temple on the moment that visit ended.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister visit. I requested my brigadier, let me go and let me visit my family.
Yes.
So I came for a flashing visit to Delhi and met my family.
Amazing. A last question to you. Have you gone back to the Golden Temple in peacetime? कभी गए वापस आप?
Not at all.
नहीं?
Since I am under acute threat,
You can never go back there.
I would wish to, from the core of my heart, but whether you call it my cowardice
Not at all, sir.
or you call it wisdom, I leave it to your judgment.
Wisdom. But I'm sure you must feel like it sometimes.
Yeah. It's like I long to go. That's why I'm saying these are the things which are affecting me.
Yes, yes.
You see, to enter Punjab
Yes.
is another,
Risk. Yes.
threat to me.
Yes, sir.
Not that my best of friends in the army have been, it so happened, they are from Punjab,
Yes.
mostly Sikhs.
Yes.
They are my bosom pals. We are on this thing conversation every other day.
Yes, sir.
But I can't freely visit where I like and where I go. There are restrictions imposed on me.
I'm going to end by asking you what being a soldier means to you. What does it mean to you from the core of your heart?
You see, soldiering is a spirit.
Yes.
Son of a scientist. My father was an agronomist. It's a soil science. And before partition of India, he went to study agronomy to Wisconsin University in USA. So he had high hopes in me that I will become a learned fellow doing PhD in some science subject and go to a renowned university like Wisconsin. Madison, Wisconsin is a very famous university. So he had fixed up with his professors that my son will come after me. And therefore, he's going to do the same what I have done. I, on the other hand, got selected in the army.
Yeah.
And my father said, what rubbish. I have booked your seat in America.
Yes.
You will be a learned fellow, and we have not had any army background, except that my uncle was in the police.
Right.
He was the IP. At that time, Indian police was the IPS was IP. Another uncle was ICS. My real brothers of my father, and my father was a scientist. So he got very upset. So I told my mother to get around my father because I wish to go into the army. I'm not quite tempted to go and do higher studies in America.
Yes.
Let me go. The motivation was that I was in school in Delhi and half of my class used to get selected in UPSC exam to go to NDA, National Defense Academy.
Right.
I missed then, but after doing graduation, I appeared again for the direct entry test and I got through and I was selected.
Right.
My father didn't allow me, even my mother's persuasion didn't work. I was quite unhappy, and all my relatives and friends said, what are you doing if your father is got the resources to send you abroad? You see, that time there were not so many scholarships and so much of other means that you could go to or take loans and go. There were no bank loans for education in my youth. So he had to send on his own resources. So he said, what rubbish, you are being given a very good choice, so why do you want to go into the army? Army is a tough life, this, that, the other. I said, despite all that, my mind is there.
Yes.
My heart is there. What do I do? So my father said, no, I'll take advice from my friends. I said, do. He took me by the hand, took me to South Block, Ministry of Defense, entered the Defense Secretary's office. Harish Sareen, H.C. Sareen was the Defense Secretary. He was the ICS, very famous Defense Secretary. I was just a boy out of college. And he told Harish Sareen, Khan Sahab kaise aaye? Abhi mujhe yaad hai. I was just holding to his coat and going. He said, Harish, this is my... He knew him because he was a leading scientist. He had retired as the director of PUSA Institute, Indian Agriculture Research Institute. Harish Sareen, and my uncle was ICS, who had been Harish's course mate or whatever. And he said that, what are you saying, Khan Sahab? If his heart is there, his mind is there, and he's interested in soldiering, it is a profession as good as being a scientist.
Yes.
Let him go, you will not regret it. We came out of the office and he said, you go. So soldiering to me means a spirit, and the spirit is your heart and mind.
Yes, sir.
If you are ready for adventure, if you are ready for overcoming obstacles, if you are ready for overcoming any rebellion, and if that is in you, that you will not accept any wrong. As an army man, we are taught that any wrong, you must curb it with a heavy. So the characterization of a soldier, and that my schooling and my influence of my fellow students, I think all put together, I have no regrets. Soldiering is my profession, and therefore anyone talks any other thing, I say, yeah, I don't meddle in politics. I have no such regard for them. But I have regard for my old officers, with whom I've had very close relationship. Like Sam Manekshaw is one.
Oh, really?
You see, I was a young captain. I was ADC to a very renowned general who was later the vice chief, Lieutenant General N.C. Raleigh. I think he lived here in Greater Kailash somewhere. Naveen Raleigh had a British mother and a Hindu father. He took me as his ADC, selected me out of galaxy of young officers in the Guards. When I was with him, we were in Nagaland in the intense insurgency of the time of Fizo, if you've heard of him, who led that Naga operation.
Yeah.
And then his commander-in-chief was Movu Angami. He was like Bhindranwale of today to Nagas.
Yes.
And we were involved. I was a captain, ADC to the GOC there, 8th Mountain Division. And there I got in touch with Sam Manekshaw. He was the army commander, Eastern Army in Calcutta. And Nagaland fell under his command. So he used to keep visiting, and his insurgency was at its peak those days. It was not quiet like today, Nagaland and the east, northeast. It was everyday affair. So I met Sam. I was so impressed by his personality. You know, that kind of an officer.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave us Bangladesh.
That's right. Amazing.
General Raleigh was another example of a good officer that I hold high esteem.
Yeah.
Then there was one, my own second in command in my battalion, Ashok Khandu. He also ended up as an army commander. General Vedya was a brigade commander under General Raleigh in Nagaland. He was a brigadier.
Amazing stories.
So therefore, I have lots of regard for and the hierarchy of the Indian Army that I served with.
I think we can only say that thank God your father agreed. Thank God you became a fine soldier of our fine army. Thank you very much, sir, and God bless, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling me, Barkha, and it's nice of you to have remembered me, even at this stage, 39 years after that blessed operation.
Not at all, sir. It's entirely my honor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.